How Chipmunk Got His Stripes, Joseph Bruchac and James Bruchac. Pictures by Jose Urego and Ariane Dewey. I'm just going to read you a little bit about the author's notes. So there's two different, James Bruchac says, as a child I heard this story from my father many times, but it took on new life for me after I began my own storytelling career and saw how young audiences reacted to it. In particular, the dialogue between the bear and the squirrel developed as I told the story hundreds of times to children. And then the other author, Joseph, says, the story of how Chipmunk got his stripes is still widely told by Native American storytellers along the East Coast. I've been telling this story myself for over 25 years. It's hard for me to recall when I first heard it told. Over 15 years ago, I heard it told as a Cherokee tale by Robert White Eagle, a powwow MC at the Otsego powwow in Binghamton. I heard another version of the story 20 years ago from my dear friend and teacher, the late Maurice Dennis of the Abenaki Nation. So there's a little bit more from the authors, but we're just going to go ahead and start with the book. So one autumn day long ago, Bear was out walking. As he walked, he began to brag. I am Bear. I am the biggest of all the animals. Yes, I am. I am Bear. I am the strongest of all the animals. Yes, I am. I am Bear. I am the loudest of animals. Yes, I am. I am Bear. I am Bear. I can do anything. Yes, I can. As soon as Bear said those words, a little voice spoke up from the ground. Can you really do anything? Bear looked down. He saw a little brown squirrel standing on his hind legs. Can you really do anything? Brown Squirrel asked again. Bear stood up very tall. I am Bear. I can do anything. Yes, I can. Can you tell the sun not to rise tomorrow morning? Brown Squirrel asked. I have never tried that before, but I am Bear. I can do that. Yes, I can. Bear turned west to face the sun. It was the time when the sun always goes down. Bear stood up to his full height and spoke in a loud voice. Sun, do not come down tomorrow. At his words, the sun began to disappear behind the hills. You see, said Bear, Sun is afraid of me. He is running away. But will the sun come up tomorrow? Brown Squirrel asked. No, Bear answered. The sun will not come up. Then Bear turned to face east, the direction where the sun always used to come up. He sat down. Little Brown Squirrel sat down beside him. All that night they did not sleep. All that night Bear kept saying these words. The sun will not come up. Humph! The sun will not come up. Humph! But as the night went on, the little brown squirrel began to say something too. He said these words. The sun is going to rise. Ooh, the sun is going to rise. Ooh. All through the night they sat there, one by other. Animals gathered around them. Fox and wolf, deer and moose, rabbit and porcupine, hawk and owl, otter and beaver, frog and turtle, and even little mice came. They wanted to see who would be right, Bear or Brown Squirrel. This is what the other animals heard. The sun will not come up. Humph! The sun is going to rise. Ooh! The sun will not come up. Humph! The sun is going to rise. Ooh! Finally, it was just before dawn, the time when the sun always used to come up. Look, said Turtle, a little bit of red is starting to show. Yes, said Owl, I believe the sun will rise today. Bear only chanted louder, the sun will not come up. Humph! But right next to him, Little Brown Squirrel piped up, the sun is going to rise. Ooh! And the sun came up. The birds sang their welcoming songs. The bright light of the new day spread over the land. Everyone was happy except for one animal. That animal was Bear. He sat there with his head down and a grumpy look on his face. So there's Bear. He did not look happy. The happiest animal of all was Little Brown Squirrel. The sun came up, he chirped. The sun came up, the sun came up, the sun came up. Brown Squirrel was so happy he forgot what his wise old grandmother had told him when he was very young. Brown Squirrel, his grandmother had said, it is good to be right about something, but when someone else is wrong, It is not a good idea to tease him. Now Little Brown Squirrel began to tease Bear. Bear is foolish, the sun came up. Bear is silly, the sun came up. Bear is stupid, the sun... Bear's big paw came down on top of Little Brown Squirrel, pinning him to the ground. Bear leaned over and opened his huge mouth. Yes, Bear growled, the sun did come up. Yes, I did look foolish. But you will not live to see another sunrise. You will not ever tease anyone else again, because I, Bear, am going to eat you. Brown Squirrel thought fast. You are right to eat me, he said. I was wrong to tease you. I would like to say I am sorry before you eat me, but you are pressing down on me so hard that I cannot say anything. I cannot say anything at all. I cannot even breathe. If you would lift up your paw just a little bit, then I could take a deep breath and apologize before you eat me. That is a good idea, Bear said. I would like to hear you apologize before I eat you. So Bear lifted up his paw, but instead of apologizing, Brown Squirrel ran. He ran as fast as he could towards the pile of stones where he had his home. He had a tunnel under those stones and a nice warm burrow deep underground. Little Brown Squirrel's grandmother stood there in the door, waiting for him. Hurry, Brown Squirrel, she called. Hurry, hurry! Little Brown Squirrel dove for the door to his home, but Bear was faster than he looked. He grabbed for Little Brown Squirrel with his big paw. Bear's long, sharp claws scratched Brown Squirrel's back from the top of his head to the tip of his tail, all the way down his back. Look at those huge claws. But Brown Squirrel got away deep down in his burrow where Bear couldn't get him. Brown Squirrel curled up next to his grandmother and slept all winter while those scratches on his back healed. When spring came again, Little Brown Squirrel came out of his hole and looked at himself. There were long pale stripes all the way down his back where Bear had scratched him. He was Brown Squirrel no longer. He was now Chipmunk, the striped one. That is how Chipmunk got his stripes. Ever since then, Chipmunk has been the first animal to get up every morning. As the sun rises, he scoots to the top of the tallest tree to sing his song. The sun came up, the sun came up, the sun came up, the sun came up. And ever since then, Bear has been the last animal to get up. He doesn't like to hear Chipmunk's song. It reminds him, as it reminds us all, that no one, not even Bear, can do everything. So our craft to go with the book is our own chipmunk. So this is what we're going to do. It's just a craft foam with some stuff from a pine cone. So in order to do that, I've drawn a tail, a head, and some feet. So the head is just going to be a circle with 2 ears. You don't need to make it too complicated. I know you're probably thinking, how am I going to draw all this? But it's really quite easy. So a circle with 2 ears. And then the tail is a long, tall, rounded line. And then another one that goes inside. So if you want to just pause your video for a second and try to draw that on your craft foam or your construction paper, and you can look back at my examples that I have here, and you can try to cut your own out. And then the feet are just 3 toes and then 3 more toes, and really they're not that big. They're just going to be sticking out from the side. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those out. So if you have construction paper or thicker paper, that's going to work better. And if you don't, you could use like a brown paper bag, but I have the craft foam here, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. Okay, so there's the tail. I'm going to cut out the head. And I'm going to cut out my feet. So when you're gluing it all together, I just kind of have two options to help have him stick all together. So on the back of here I have a strip of craft foam, or you can use a stick. And so using the stick is going to give you something to glue all of the body parts to, and then it can be a puppet. So we'll go ahead and do that option, and then you can see the difference between the two. So at the top of my stick is going to be the head, and then the tail, which I'm going to attach right above the head, and then the feet, which I'm going to tuck under. So he's kind of going to look like he's all squished together, but we're going to fill in this body part, so it doesn't matter that they're all overlapping right in that section. So we're going to go ahead and put some glue on there. So we're going to put some glue on our stick. I'm going to stick on the head. So we can adjust these as needed. So there's the head and the tail together, right one above the other. And then I'm going to put the feet in there. So what I'm going to do is just tuck the feet in between the tail and the stick. So I know it kind of looks funny now, but once we get it all finished, it's going to look right. Okay, so then the next step is to have some pine cones. And I'm just going to go ahead and peel some of the pieces off the side, and we can go ahead and attach those to our chipmunk. So in the story, he starts out as a squirrel, and then he gets stripes on his tail and he turns into a chipmunk. So that's just the pine cone peeled off. We're going to use all the little pieces off there. So I'm going to put some glue on my chipmunk like that. And I'm going to spread that around a little. And we're going to go ahead and add our pieces. So I'm just going to lay those on there. I'm going to put them on really thick. And I'm just going to press them in. Okay, and then I'm going to shake off the excess. And that's just going to look like the fur on his body. So there we go. So that all needs some time to dry together. So then the next step is to add an eye. So on my first one, I just drew an eye with a marker because that's what I had. But we also have some googly eyes from our craft supplies. And if you remember seeing squirrels or chipmunks in the wild, they always have little eyes. So I'm going to add that. And then lastly, I'm going to add a nose and a mouth. So I'm just going to draw a little triangle on there. And then I'm going to give him a little smile. So that is an easy and quick little chipmunk puppet. And to make him into the chipmunk instead of a squirrel, you've got to add the stripes on the tail. So once that is all nice and dry, you can use it as a puppet. So we're just going to go ahead and use our marker. And we're going to just go up the side of his tail. And I just made a squiggly line. So it kind of looks like fur. If you remember, the bear scratched through him and gave him his stripes. So we're just going to kind of make it look like some scratch marks there. So that's all you need to do to make your squirrel or chipmunk puppet.